Round 4 of the RIAC Red Mills National Rally Championship took the cars and crews to Carlow for the Seven Oaks Hotel Stages Rally. The event was also round 3 of the Triton Showers South East Rally Championship. As ever on the National Rally Series, a capacity entry was on hand in Carlow, with last year's champion John Galeese, the number 1 seed in the Escort Cosworth. Niall Maguire, winner of the last round in Monaghan, was seated number 2 in his Subaru. Gabriel Snow, winner in Kerry on round 2, was a non-finisher in the last event in Monaghan. He was seated 3 in his Impreza. While visiting Welsh driver Gwyndaf Evans was a welcome visitor and seated 5 in his M3 BMW. The National Series visits all corners of Ireland, and round 4 saw the championship revisit Carlow for the first time in 20 years. The Carlow Car Sports Club, who also organised motor race meetings and rallycross events at Ella Park, promoted this year's event, which was due to be run over 9 stages in and around Carlow. Saturday night was a busy night for both drivers and organisers. Away from the official events, the crews were with scrutiny, while the officials were celebrating the return of the Carlow stages to the National Rally Series after a long absence. Councillor Jim Townsend said they were very happy to welcome the rally and its organisers back to Carlow.
I'm absolutely delighted that the rally has come back to Carlow town after an absence of so long, and I'd like to congratulate the Carlow Car Club for bringing the rally back. I know it took a lot of hard work on their part to bring it back. The rally would mean an awful lot to Carlow town, because at a conservative estimate I expect that it will generate approximately 250,000 of an income over the weekend for Carlow, and also the television coverage in that would show Carlow up in a very positive light.
The Carlow rally was due to be run over 9 stages, with 3 stages run 3 times, with service at Gore's Bridge after runs 3 and 6. The opening stage, which was also stages 4 and 7, was run at Old Loughlin. Stages 2, 5 and 8 took the drivers to Tomard, while for stages 3, 6 and the final one, stage 9, the cars ran at Ahabeg. Former national champion Stephen Murphy was clerk of the course in Carlow.
There's a hell of a lot of effort has to go in, but it takes a team, and if you haven't got a good team, like it's like having a manager and he's only organising the people behind him, and that's the way I see it. And I'm only there as a manager, and the lads are behind me, and they're more important than I am.
Originally we went out with no radios, no communication whatsoever, no mobile phones, and now we can't do without these things at an event. So it has moved on from a communications point of view, safety point of view, and also from a competitiveness point of view. The cars today are faster, safer, but I'm afraid the spectators probably don't realise that in some cases. But it's a great thing to be involved with it, and I enjoy it thoroughly myself.
Joe Connolly of the RIAC National Rally Committee, as quiet ascends on the eve of the rally. Seven Oaks Hotel hosted this year's event, which proved to be popular with both old and young spectators alike. John Galeese was first away in the Escort, and he was in confident mood.
I'm looking forward to the rally today. Kerry was a reasonable result for us because we hadn't gone out for a while, so the car will be a bit looser and better today. The opposition's very tough as well. The recce yesterday was quite good. I mean, it was wet and miserable, and I think that was a good introduction to the stages because the stages are pretty slippery and so on. So it was good to see them in wet, dry, damp and so on. So we've seen them everywhere, so looking forward to it. Well, just a lot of gravelly bits and downhill gravelly bits. That'll be difficult, and the tyre choice will be difficult because it looks pretty stormy here. It's nice and warm here and so on, but I think when we get going now in an hour's time, the rain will just be programmed to come at that moment.
Gabriel Snow was followed by Michael Barrable, who was in his first outing since the opening round in Ballina. Frank O'Mahony's Impreza was followed by the ex-Carlow Saints Toyota Celica, driven by John McCluskey, and then came the escort of Derek Smith. Mick McQuaid had a miserable time with transmission problems in Kerry and Monaghan in his Impreza.
We just said we'd put an end to that problem and just completely refurbish the transmission, so hopefully we're on song today. I like the stages, yeah, a little bit tight in places, dirty in places, but good stages, happy with them, yeah.
David Armstrong's escort was seated in the top 20, hoping for continued reliability, as was the Metro 604 of Hal Lewis. John Gilleese, the Belfast dentist, was seeded number 1 in Carlow and was also in the hunt to retain the title he won on a tie-break with Niall Maguire on the final round in Skibbereen in 1998. Although the escort looks the same as last year, there's a continuous evolution going on. Gilleese fitted a new steering rack before the second round in Kerry, which has proved to be very effective. As John himself says, the rack does all the work for him, cutting down on the amount of weight training he has to do. Over the opening 3 stages, which proved to be very wet indeed, Gilleese showed that he could cope with all conditions, battling as he was with the Imprezas of Maguire and Snow for the lead. At service at the Red Mills complex in Gore's Bridge, Gilleese was second to Maguire, but the conditions were very wet indeed.
It took a little while to get the tyres warm in the first stage because they were just brand new and they were a little bit skiddy on the first stage. We lost a bit of time there, but we're okay now. We're on the pace now, I think. Yeah. It's absolutely getting worse and worse. Stage 3 there was unbelievable. It was so wet, but it's very, very tight too between about 4 or 5 people, you know, so it's really just nip and tuck.
Niall Maguire, winner of the last round of the series in Monaghan, was second on round 2 in Kerry, losing that event in his Impreza on countback to Gabriel Snow as the duo finished tied for time at the top of the leaderboard. Maguire, however, made no mistake in Monaghan. He and co-driver Anthony Nestor took a convincing victory, winning by over 2.5 minutes. Maguire ran in a Subaru Legacy last year, but just missed out on the title to John Gilleese. This year, he's acquired the Impreza. He was fast in the Legacy, but it seems that his newly acquired machine is the one to beat in this year's National Rally Championship Series. Maguire first started rallying way back in 1982 in an escort, and the highlight of his career in the early days was the 4th place finish on the Circuit of Ireland Rally in 1992. Leading after the opening 3 stages in Carlow, he too talked about the conditions and the damage done to his car.
Yeah, there were tough 3 stages, yeah. The first stage, I think we got a 20-second lead on top of the rest, and then into the second stage, then just about 3 miles from the finish, I come down into a 7 left, a big long straight, and I couldn't take it and went straight on and hit a bank. And then I got going again, then I went off again. Wasn't concentrating. So it's tough stages, definitely are. Last time we had intermediates on and we should have had wets on. Like it was definitely wets we needed on, not intermediates.
Gabriel Snow won round 2 in Kerry in the Subaru Impreza, and over the opening 3 stages in Carlow he battled hard with both Maguire and Gilleese for the lead. Maguire took stages 1 and 3, while Snow managed the quickest time over stage 2 at Tamard. By service at Gore's Bridge there was 15 seconds separating Maguire and Snow, with Gilleese sandwiched in between. He also found the wet conditions not to his liking.
It's unbelievable. I never driven in conditions like that before, and you just go around the corner and there's standing water, and you know, cars aqua pinning, and it's a very fine line to be on the road and off the road at the moment. Well, actually, John Gilleese is 3 seconds in front of us at the moment. First stage we had a terrible time. Second stage we were quickest on it, and at last stage John and Niall done it in wet, so we're in intermediates. Just standing water for all of the stage. It was very dangerous, so we just backed off, and Niall took 6 and John took 8 of us, so I think Niall's 14 in front and John's 3 in front. But we're in wets now, we're going to try and do something about it.
The Toyota Celica of John McCluskey had a major problem, not with the car itself, but with the malfunctioning wiper blade. McCluskey had the unfortunate task of having to keep the window open in order to put the wiper back in place. Not an easy thing to do at 120 miles an hour.
First stage we were about line fourth or fifth after the first stage. We had a very good time, which we don't normally have in the wet, and we're only getting used to this car. But the last couple of stages the wipers have been sticking on, so we have to keep putting the hand out the window as we're driving to turn the wipers back on. So we're after dropping probably about 40 or 50 seconds to the front runners, you know. But I mean, the lads will get it fixed here, and we'll have to have a go for it now in the afternoon. See how we get on.
So going into that first service at Gore's Bridge, the escort of Joe McGurk had moved up to 5th place overall. David Armstrong's escort was in 6th. While Derek Smith was having a really good drive in the older escort version, and he was up to 7th. Joe McHugh in his Cosworth-powered Escort was the leading Group N car at this stage, while Hugh Dunn was up to 10th place overall in his Subaru Legacy. The top seeds were finding the conditions positively difficult, but further down the field, he was even more so. So we're still slipping and a-sliding in Carlow. After the break, we have a reprise of stage 1. Look out for some mayhem on that. Join me in a moment.